The moment I saw Klay Thompson erupt on social media, snapping over Meghan being labeled with that humiliating word, I felt something shift, not just in the celebrity world, but in the emotional temperature behind his post. This did not feel like a calm boyfriend stepping in to protect his partner. This felt like a man whose patience had completely evaporated, someone who had been silently drowning under rumors that were never supposed to surface. And the terrifying part? That post, that angry burst of words, turned out to be the first breadcrumb in a trail that is now spiraling into something far darker. Whispers that Klay is allegedly distancing himself from Meghan after discovering she had been involved with someone inside his own locker room, crying face. That single allegation sent the entire internet into meltdown, reviving the old 304 discourse around her like gasoline hitting an open flame. You could literally feel the shift online, timelines shaking, comment sections exploding, people stitching clips together trying to piece the truth, while others insisted the whole thing had been brewing long before any of us noticed. Before the locker room whispers took over, fans pointed back to the exact moment the crack first appeared, the moment Klay's tone changed from protective to panicked. And that moment was when he unleashed a fiery message aimed straight at Pat Bev and Jason Williams, after the two joked about Meghan like she were some disposable storyline rather than a human being. Klay wrote, "Referring to my girlfriend as that word is disgusting and disturbing, especially from someone I shared a court with. How would you feel if I spoke about your wives that way? Pat, do better. Truly disappointing." That message did not sound like a man defending his girlfriend. That sounded like someone desperately trying to choke the flames of a narrative already slipping out of his control. And once he posted it, everything accelerated. People began pulling receipts, comparing timelines, and dissecting every public moment like forensic investigators searching for hidden clues, crying face. Then came the red carpet appearance, the beautiful photos from her Pete and Thomas Foundation gala. The world saw glamour, the matching black outfits, the perfect smiles, the staged kisses, the image of a couple glowing under the flash of cameras. On the surface, it looked like a fairy tale moment. But when you zoom in, when you align the dates, when you compare what they showed us with what insiders claim was actually happening, the fairy tale begins to crack. Meghan gave an emotional quote that day, calling it her first relationship with someone genuinely kind, someone who made her truly happy. And Klay stood beside her with his hand around her waist like he were promising forever. Yet behind that picture-perfect moment, whispers were already spreading in NBA circles that Klay had stepped back from her, not publicly, but privately, quietly, strategically, as if preparing for a storm nobody else knew was coming. And now, with rumors of betrayal lingering in the air, social media detectives are tearing everything apart: screenshots, timelines, locker room rosters, podcast clips, trying to figure out who is lying, who is hiding, and who is about to break their silence next. Because in stories like this, the truth never walks in calmly. It erupts. Fans did not even notice the shift until much later, but the first spark was hiding in plain sight. So let me rewind you back to the exact second this rumor went from a whisper to a wildfire. It happened when Klay Thompson was asked a seemingly innocent question about Tory Lanez, a chapter people refused to let die in Meghan's timeline. The moment that name came up, Klay shut it down instantly, but his energy did not scream annoyance. It screamed something far more revealing: embarrassment. It felt like he did not want to be standing in the middle of her old chaos any longer, like he could feel a storm forming behind him that he did not have the strength to shield himself from anymore, crying face. And when you pair that with the next moment he opened his mouth publicly, the viral clip where he admitted he was late picking her up with absolutely no excuse, the internet laughed, sure. But athletes? They clowned him. They called him soft, whipped, moving like her personal assistant. And yes, she was sitting comfortably in the back seat, but people did not know the real twist yet. Because the teammate Meghan allegedly got involved with? This was not some random player. This was someone Klay trusted deeply. And this is where the entire narrative starts to tilt into betrayal territory. Klay's whole demeanor toward Meghan shifted the exact moment the locker room rumor started gaining oxygen. And the most unsettling part? It did not come from anonymous burner accounts. It began circulating among people close to the Dallas Mavericks, people who would absolutely know who shares a locker room with who. They kept repeating the same phrase, not a benchwarmer, someone he trusted. That wording sent chills through every comment section because it was far too specific to be silly TikTok fanfiction. And after that rumor broke, every time reporters pressed Klay about Meghan, his voice got shorter, his tone colder, like a man strategically distancing himself without igniting a public explosion. The tension became unbearable during that one interview when someone asked about their relationship and Klay said sharply, "I am not going to talk about that." That was not privacy. That was discomfort. You could hear the crack in his voice. And then Meghan posted that infamous IG dump announcing that they bought a house together, and that is when the internet spiraled. Fans celebrated, but detectives noticed the strangest detail: Klay did not acknowledge the house at all. No repost. No comment. Not even a like. Instantly, NBA players allegedly started DMing each other like, "Bro, Klay is trying to fade out quietly." And the rumor grew louder when fans realized something else: Meghan had Klay saved in her phone as husband. Sweet if the relationship is thriving, but devastating when you line it up with the timeline of the alleged teammate situation. So on one side, she is treating Klay like a forever partner, my husband, my baby. On the other side, Klay is returning to the court looking irritated, distracted, and emotionally exhausted. Then, when Pat Bev and Jason Williams decided to publicly disrespect Meghan by calling her a disgusting word, Klay finally exploded. And honestly? People think that eruption proved the rumor had weight, because he reacted like a man who had already been disrespected in private and could not tolerate one more hit in public. But the situation turned nuclear when retired players and media personalities jumped into the chaos, spraying gasoline everywhere. And the one who poured the biggest bucket? Shaquille O'Neal. He had already been eyeing Meghan, and he boldly predicted that she and Klay would not last longer than 6 weeks. Mike Tyson laughed with him, saying, "Who is Klay Thompson? She got shot for that pee. Give us some credit." That joke was not really a joke. Shaq was predicting the exact type of disaster Klay is swimming in right now. But the real turning point, the moment everything snapped from whisper to narrative, was when DJ Academics entered the conversation like a siren. And when he jumps in, the internet always shifts. Before we talk about what he said, you need to understand why his voice hits so different. He says what the fans want to say but are too scared to tweet. And once the rumor about Meghan being involved with Klay's teammates started circulating, he did not dance around it. He kicked the entire door down. He said the relationship felt like a PR move, that Klay seemed terrified of her energy, and that the viral clip of her cooking for him looked like he were standing in that kitchen against his will. Then he dropped the line that made the whole internet gasp: "This relationship is not making it past All-Star Weekend. The moment she switches from champagne to Hennessy, it is over." That was not playful shade. That was a direct shot at Meghan's alleged behavior behind closed doors. And this is where the 304 conversation returned from the grave, not because of her past, but because fans started pulling up brand new receipts to justify the label. The first thing dragged back online was her own clip from 2015 where she said, "If I beat a ninja ass, I beat a ninja ass." And that clip resurfaced like a prophecy, fueling timelines all over again as if the universe was saying, "Look closer, it was always right here." What fans did not realize at first was that nothing happening around Klay Thompson was random. Every shift people now point to in hindsight began right after social media started whispering that Klay looked emotionally drained whenever Meghan's name came up. That is when Slim Thug decided to drop his own take, and his comment hit Klay's image like a direct punch. He said that Meghan gifting Klay a $300,000 AP watch was her way of little boying him, presenting the gift not as love but as control. And the worst part? Klay confirmed she truly bought it. On paper it felt sweet, but once you place that gesture next to the rumor that she was allegedly getting close to his teammate, it suddenly makes Klay look like a man being spoiled to stay quiet, pampered while being played, crying face. It painted an image of him that the internet did not hesitate to amplify. The timing made everything so much worse, because just as fans began pulling apart their relationship frame by frame, Meghan appeared on the Jennifer Hudson show praising Klay for making her life easier, talking about how she had finally entered her soft girl era. It sounded wholesome in the moment, but viewers online were not buying it. They felt like she was doubling down publicly to cover a mess that was spiraling privately. And honestly, the more you align their timelines, the more it feels like both of them were trying to cover tracks neither one wanted to admit existed. It was giving PR stunt energy, and nothing fueled that theory more than the Reddit thread that exploded right afterward, questioning whether the entire romance was real or if Klay was being used to polish Meghan's image heading into All-Star Weekend. And this is where the story shifted from gossip to genuine concern. Because the Reddit thread was not created by random trolls. It was created by dedicated NBA fans who analyze patterns, body language, media shifts, sudden pivots in celebrity strategy. Their question was painfully simple: was Klay being used? One of the top posts laid it out right there in black and white: Klay has always been private, drama-free. Meghan has been dealing with constant public mess. This pairing feels strategic. Look at the timeline. And when you investigate Klay's digital history, it becomes even clearer. Before dating Meghan, his page barely showed anything beyond basketball, his dog, and the ocean. He moved like a man who valued peace more than attention. Meanwhile, Meghan had just walked through lawsuits, label disputes, the Tory situation, and a fractured fan base. So when fans saw the sudden red carpet appearances, the public affection, the curated IG reels, the scripted interviews, the question became unavoidable: why now? Why Klay? Why suddenly so public? One Redditor broke it down almost too perfectly: this feels like an image rehab arc for her. And Klay is the cleanest, safest, most likable man she could stand beside. That is what made everything ring so loudly. Because Klay is entering the late stage of his NBA career, not washed, not irrelevant, just stepping into the quiet, legacy preservation era that veteran players settle into. So why would a man who avoids drama suddenly step directly into the orbit of one of the most polarizing artists in the industry? Then came another shift, one that fans caught immediately during media week. Klay's interactions with teammates allegedly looked stiff. Not angry. Not emotional. Just distant. And that is when the locker room whispers returned, but with a new tone. Not Meghan cheated. Not Klay is heartbroken. Something worse. Something final. Insiders allegedly began saying, Klay found out. And now he is done. Not arguing. Not negotiating. Not salvaging. Just done. And suddenly, that AP watch resurfaced across the timeline, making him look like he got played both emotionally and financially. Add Slim Thug calling him little boy. Add Shaq saying 6 weeks. Add academics calling everything a PR stunt. Add the teammate rumor. Add Meghan saving his contact as husband, while Klay is walking around like a man who wants to disappear into the Pacific Ocean. Suddenly the narrative flipped from Klay is lucky to have Meghan to Klay is trying to escape Meghan. Then came the breaking point. The crack in the facade. The private moment that leaked. And this is the moment everyone had been waiting for. This moment did not come from a press conference, or a paparazzi clip, or an IG Notes essay crafted by a PR intern at 3 in the morning. It did not come from unfollows, hashtags, or dramatic subtweets. It came from something far quieter, a change so small you would only catch it if you had been paying attention. A shift that looked tiny from the outside but told the entire story without him speaking a single word. Because after the teammate rumor hit, after the PR stunt discourse drowned comment sections, after Slim Thug's comments went viral, after academics roasted the relationship like a stand-up routine, and after Reddit spent 48 hours doing forensic breakdowns of every recent clip, Klay changed the way he moved. Not loud. Not chaotic. Not emotional. Quiet. Surgical. Final. But the true confirmation did not come from gossip pages or thirsty sources chasing clout. It came from one insider who allegedly dropped one detail, a single detail, that aligned with everything fans had been assembling like puzzle pieces. And the detail was so simple, so believable, so very Klay that it instantly clicked for anyone who knows his personality. According to that insider, Klay did not confront Meghan first. He confronted the teammate. Not the girl. Not the managers. Not the bloggers. Not the fan theorists. The teammate. And according to this source, the teammate did not deny it. Not convincingly. Not confidently. Not in a way that someone like Klay, who reads energy better than he reads box scores, could accept. That moment, that hesitation, that lack of denial was allegedly all Klay needed. A single crack in the truth that told him everything. And from that moment on, he was done. When you really sit with it, when you really understand who Klay Thompson is at his core, everything suddenly makes sense in a way that hits almost painfully hard. This is a man who has been the same quiet, grounded, consistent presence for years. The type of guy who avoids scandals like they are landmines, who never chases trends or shock value or algorithm-hungry moments. He values loyalty more than hype, connection more than attention, privacy more than applause. Klay has always been the man who would rather take his boat out at sunrise than live stream his breakfast. The man who would rather sit on the dock with his dog than chase red carpets. So the very idea that Meghan might have gotten a little too close to someone he literally changed clothes next to, someone whose locker sat 6 feet from his own, someone he traveled with, shared meals with, shared late-night flights and early morning practices with, this was not just drama to him. This was betrayal on a level most people cannot even process. Because in the NBA, a teammate is not just a coworker. They are your traveling family. Your pressure release. Your emotional safety net. Your brotherhood. You spend more hours with them than your own blood. You sweat with them, bleed with them, tear ligaments beside them, celebrate wins with them, sit in silence after losses with them. They are the only people who understand the pressure, the grind, the loneliness, the expectation. That bond is supposed to be ironclad. Unbreakable. So to even hear the possibility, just the whisper, that someone from that sacred circle might have crossed a line with the woman you led into your private world? That is not gossip. That is a wound. And if that teammate did not deny the rumor instantly, if he did not shut it down loudly, firmly, without a single pause, Klay would not need evidence. He would not need screenshots or explanations or tear-filled apologies. The hesitation alone would tell him everything. Klay is the type of man who listens to silence. Who reads energy better than excuses. Who pays attention to behavior, not words. He is not explosive. He is not the type to create a viral meltdown or slam doors in public. His reactions are microscopic if you are not paying attention. But when he is done, he is done. His distance becomes the statement. His silence becomes the headline. His absence becomes the entire story. And that is exactly what unfolded. After that alleged confrontation, Klay did not subtweet. He did not hop on a podcast. He did not clap back or throw hints at the blogs. He simply shifted. Quietly. Intentionally. Permanently. He unfollowed a few people, not enough to make a spectacle, but enough for internet detectives to catch the pattern. He stopped liking certain posts. He stopped appearing in his usual spots. He skipped events he normally attended. He retreated back to his sanctuary, water, boats, calm mornings, sunsets, long stretches of solitude that looked like therapy. Fans began to notice. Comment sections grew louder. Blogs started speculating. But the louder everyone else got, the quieter Klay became. And that silence told the truth far louder than any press conference could. Because when Klay withdraws, that is when you know something real happened. He does not run to chaos, he runs from it. He protects his peace the same way he protects a fourth-quarter lead. So when the public stopped seeing any sign of connection to Meghan, no soft likes, no low-key comments, no mutual sightings, no energy at all, people understood. He did not need to confirm it. His change in behavior confirmed everything. And the heartbreaking part? Klay never cared about the hype that came with dating Meghan. He never used her fame to boost his brand. He never chased clout. He never tried to turn the relationship into a performance. If anything, he kept trying to protect it, keep it sacred, keep it sheltered, keep it real. A man like that does not leave unless something deep inside him breaks. A man like that does not abandon ship unless loyalty has been shattered. People who have followed Klay for years said the same thing across forums, comment sections, and whispers online. If Klay distanced himself, something serious happened. And it was not her past. It was not her reputation. It was not old drama. It was not music industry noise. It was the idea, just the idea, that someone he trusted, someone in his inner circle, might have crossed a boundary. Because betrayal from outside is noise. Betrayal from inside your circle is heartbreak. And the timeline lined up almost too perfectly. Right after the teammate rumor. Right after the insider leak. Right after fans noticed his shift at games, in interviews, in body language. Klay stopped making those subtle gestures that keep a private relationship warm, no quiet support, no digital affection, no signs of closeness. The energy did not become cold. It became absent. And absence is louder than anger. Absence is louder than statements. Absence is louder than drama. People began to understand, this was not jealousy. This was not insecurity. This was heartbreak braided with principle. Because Klay is principled. Deeply. Once loyalty is compromised, he will not yell, he will not fight, he will not campaign. He will simply remove himself. And once he removes himself, that removal is absolute. That is why this breakup feels different.